Okay, welcome. That was a fun day. I always try and start 15 minutes before to get the stream up and going, and lo and behold, I got a nice YouTube error, try again later, and I obviously don't understand how to get the connection to reconnect, and so I had to cancel the original stream. And so I apologize if it caused some confusion. The original stream right now is very short, if anything, a few seconds. And so I quick recreated another stream, and so it is in the streaming world for us on the internet here. So I want to welcome everybody. The topic of today is understanding that first stitch that your long arm machine does and what it does. It really pertains to the machine finding the needle position. We'll cover that. And the little pre-video I had on the introduction was something I threw together. It's a little tidbit tip for when you're doing timing. Now, we won't cover timing in detail, but for those of you that do your own timing, you will find that interesting. And if you don't, you can always join MOTT. So let me give the 90-second kickoff here, so that the people that are new to this channel know what's going on. So what is MOTT? MOTT stands for Machine Owner Technician Training. It's a program that I've worked with Handy Quilter on getting approved so that the people that do not have good technicians near them can work on their own machines with us as their support organization, so that they can do it without violating a warranty or being told that they're doing something they shouldn't. We also give you access to parts, training. You can check out the link below to get all the details on the internet there. On YouTube here, we try and do a little bit of troubleshooting, because troubleshooting applies to both users and technicians, okay? If you're a user now, we have what we call the MK Quilts University, where all our training is hosted. We have our premium track, which teaches people how to use their long arms, especially Pro Stitcher. There's a crossover of troubleshooting. What's happening when I'm having a bad stitch, a long stitch? It's making this noise or something else. But you're going to need to be a MOTT member to get the detailed technical issues, and you can take that as far as you want. We train you on doing the basics, but if you want to know more about your machine and how to troubleshoot, there's going to be a lot of content in MOTT. All right, so now back to the program. All right, so thank you for sitting through that. I don't want to repeat myself, so it's a little recording here. Today I don't have a pre-recorded session on the needle position, but we're going to go up to the board here, and I will try and explain things. All right, until I get my wireless microphone set up here, I will just speak up. So this is a picture of a common long arm machine. You have a bar at the top, a shaft that runs the length of the bottom and the top of the machine, and a belt between them that keeps them spinning in the right order. And if your timing and everything's set up, you're going to get a nice stitch here. But what happens when you first turn on your machine? Well, you got to remember, when your machine's off, its brain, this little green card with a bunch of chips on it, it doesn't remember anything when you wake it up. Okay, when the power goes out, after about a minute, everything's discharged. It doesn't remember what's going on. So of course, if you've changed the position on the hand wheel, needle up or down, it really has no idea when you turn it on where the needle is, and it needs to know that so that it knows where to stop that needle. Okay, so when you start your machine, the first time that needle bar goes up and down, it's going to detect its position and program it into the computer board. Okay, how does it do that? Okay, back here in the machine, there is a disc, a round circular disc, attached to the upper shaft signified by the green dot here. Now it's cut in such a way that it has a cutout at a certain section on the disc. It also has a sensor that is actually like a little horseshoe. The disc is going between the horseshoe, and as it blocks or unblocks, it lets the machine know where the needle is, because it's attached at the factory to the shaft in a certain position, which represents the needle up or needle down position. So this sensor has to spin at least once and find the position. So many people go, well, I did the needle up, needle down the first time and it only moved a little distance, or it did something weird. That is because it's trying to find the first position. Once it finds the right edge of that disc, it's going to stop. Okay. I do have a little caveat I want to mention for the Infinity owners, because I've seen it twice now. I wish I would have videoed it, and I may have mentioned it last week. But when you first turn on the Infinity, there's rare cases, and they're trying to fix this with firmware, very rare cases, that the motor, when it first energizes, will rotate backwards. And that can accidentally trigger the wrong position to be stored into the machine. Okay? When you go to stitch, then you do your first pull-up, you can't pull up the bottom thread, and you look at it, and basically it's not fully turning and pulling the needle back to where it belongs so that you pull the thread out. The only way to fix that is to shut the machine down, wait 60 seconds for the brain to go dead, and then restart it, and usually that problem goes away. Like I said, Melissa's had her machine, 10 years, or whenever the first ones came out for the Infinity. She was an early adopter. We only saw this once recently on a new machine, and we just had another used machine in here, so I thought I'd mention that. But understanding that your first stitch should always just be like a needle up, needle down when you turn your machine on. That'll avoid confusion. That'll get it in a state so that it remembers where that position is, and that from there on the motor can just turn to the right position and make sure it stops at that position. So that's a confusion some people had. I thought I'd just cover a simple thing here. So let me run back to my desk. And since I am my own video producer, I'm sort of having fun with this automatic camera. All right. So if you have any questions, you can throw them in the chat here for the live feed members. The MOTT members will be getting on a Google Meet right after this, so we can do some more Q&A and talk in more detail. There is one item that we will also be covering today. It's the video that has been running about setting the timing, and so I am going to play that for you and then check the Q&A here to see if there's anything that I need to address. But I am going to press okay. I am going to press the... All right, I just wanted to do a quick insert to the timing video. I can learn new things. When you're going for the lowest point, now we still have the stop finger and ignore that, but the lowest point, usually you'd play around with it and get it to where you think it's the lowest point. You would then slap on the clamp and the spacer, in this case 2.2 millimeter. You'd lift up, you'd tighten, okay? Now, are you really at the lowest point before you pull this out? The easy way to check is to reach back and gently rock the hand wheel. You can see how little it moves up there. Now, you don't want to do it hard because the thing will slide. But I'm just going to pick the middle of that movement and then go back up, loosen, lift, and tighten. Because if you are at the perfect low point, no matter which way you move, see, it doesn't rock at all. So I know I'm at the lowest point. So thank you, Mark, out there in Georgia. He taught me this. It just makes a lot of sense, and it's going to make your timing that much better. All right, so we sort of threw two things together, and I apologize for running so quickly through this. But needle position is important, especially in timing, because you time at a specific point so that the hook comes and crosses the needle. Otherwise, it misses the thread and you get a skipped stitch. So, timing your machine, you don't have to join MOTT. We also sell the timing program in detail. We got a course out there that you can buy separately. We sell all the timing gear as well. So, you can check that out. So before we move on, though, I wanted to talk about some other issues that you might notice. What if your needle, after you finish stitching, goes down, comes up, and is a little bit too close to your quilt? Okay, so we've measured the needle clearance between the needle plate to be between 5 millimeters and 7 millimeters. That's not a lot of space. So you notice the 5 over the 7, okay? And if it stops any lower than 5, you definitely have a problem. Now, the Amara users, and it doesn't affect every machine, but during COVID, they had to swap out some parts and a new problem showed up, which under heavy use, the machine would start stopping the needle late and it would end up close to, if not in the quilt, which is a really bad thing. Very rare, and it doesn't affect everything. But if you're running an Amara class machine, especially something you bought in the last 2 years, I would make sure you're running the latest firmware, which I believe at the time of this recording is 4.85. All right, the firmware updates are pretty easy. If you need assistance, you can always get in contact with us. Let me throw that up here. So contacting us is always the easiest. Support at mkquilts.com. If you have a question, go to our website, schedule a support call. We have a lot of guides on our support site as well. You might find the solution right there. Or you can call us and leave a message, and all of this gets put into our system. So that's just something else to check out. If you've got the right firmware and it still ends low, maybe the disc was put on your shaft improperly. I've seen a couple rare instances of that. That can be adjusted, but that's an inside technical thing for a MOTT person, for a technician. There's another point of contact that might have a little play in it. The cage bearings and the pivot, there again, more advanced than you need to get to, but it can be tweaked a little bit, but it is 5 to 7 millimeters is where it should stop above the needle plate. You can take your hopping foot off and measure that if you're particular about it. So obviously, before you get way down the road, there's a couple other situations that can come up. One, use the right needle. A needle of a different length will obviously cause problems, though in most cases you will also have stitch problems as well. And if you are having stitch problems before you go to all these other issues, get it timed and make sure your needle height is adjusted properly for a good stitch, and that'll solve most of your problems. If there's any questions, I don't see any scrolling on the chat here, but I wanted to cover, I think it covered everything here related to the needle position. There will not be a MOTT YouTube or Q&A session next week because it's Easter, Holy Week, and I will not be available, but 2 weeks from now we will be having another call. So while I get ready to jump over to the members only call, I am going to tack on to the end of this recording a little commercial for who MK Quilts is. Okay, so this is the pre-recorded commercial for MK Quilts so that I can describe a little bit about what we do. We are a retail shop out of Florida, but we sell our machines nationally. We've got hundreds of them out there. We have a university for training and making sure people use these expensive machines and that they get the proper support. And this MOTT training is just the next step of us making sure that the best support is given to our customers and to others out there. Call us. We will help you, and I appreciate you putting up with this little commercial. Our phone number is 727-935-1739. All right, and I cut myself off just to say support at mkquilts.com is for getting in contact with us. Sales at mkquilts.com if you want to purchase a machine from the best retailer there is. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. You should see this video truncated by Monday. Otherwise, you'll have a little bit of a wait at the start. But I appreciate you looking into this, and I will talk to you later.